See, I would have got that one.
Right. Now, I actually started Hint. When
You started it?
Of course. I'm a genius.
That's wild.
And it's
fellas, please don't do that.
You know, who are you when no one's around? Like, hey, so you didn't swipe right on me. What happened with that?
Whoa,
And
they've actually approached you on
Yes.
that? That's also saying that most of us are looking for that. Man, POF takes me back. I'm not that much older than you.
Okay, sure. Again, these are not my opinions. Man. It is the world's statistics. Did I say that right?
Almost.
Welcome back to Singles Intervention Podcast with your host, Juju, and my co-host,
Jeff, your relationship coach.
And I want to do a little recap on the last episode and the first two parts. Last episode, we went over dating ideas, dating advice, and then the part two, we went over, fashion and dating and what you should wear on the first date. We're going to talk about online dating and how it has affected the world today. I mean, is it a necessity to date online now? What do you think, Jeff?
Oh, man, I think it's the second most used way to meet people.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we're so busy bodies. We got multiple jobs now because the economy is trash. But I don't think we do the regular things that we are usually doing. Maybe in your early 20s, you're still going to the club and you're still doing all these things. But, once you hit your 30s, I don't think we go to bars and clubs to meet people like that. And again, depending where you live, that may not be the culture, right? Unfortunately, living in New Jersey, tri-state area, living in New York, that is the culture. And even in Miami,
Or sometimes we're just too busy, right? We're just so busy with everything that we're doing that it's hard to meet people in any way. Even if there are ways to meet people somewhere else, it's hard to do that because we don't have enough time.
I recently just learned the statistics on the average amount of dating apps someone actually has, right? It's about 3 to 4.
Wow.
And I mean, for me, I can barely keep up with one.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So I want to go over the top 5 and tell you why they're the worst to the best.
Let's do that.
Starting at number 5 with the worst dating app out there. Again, these are not my opinions. Man. It is the world's statistics. Did I say that right?
Almost.
Is starting with number 1, Plenty of Fish. Yeah. Have you ever been on that?
Man, POF takes me back.
You were on there?
POF was college. Absolutely college time was POF. Remember Hot or Not?
No, I think that might be before my time.
No, not that much. Not that much. I'm not that much older than you.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, POF, definitely. I remember that a while back.
Yeah, well, I've never been on it. I believe it came out in 2003.
Yeah, 2003.
I was not even of age. I might have been like 10 years old.
Oh, yeah.
So MySpace might have been like the first thing that I could remember socially to meet people. But that was just, posting everyday things. So the reason why it's rated the worst, top 5 being number 1 at its worst, is due to the outdated interfacing, fake profiles, and low quality of matching.
Yeah, I don't think they ever updated it. Right?
Yeah,
they didn't keep up with the times.
Yeah, it just keeps going, right? Rolling in at number 2 is OkCupid. It is seemed to be overwhelmingly due to lengthy questionnaires, and the match qualities can be inconsistent. I don't think I've ever joined OkCupid. No. And then, of course, for me personally, I would have said Tinder would have been the worst of the worst, because to me it's a cesspool. It's an F pool to me. Like, as soon as I ended up making a little profile and downloading it, and maybe within the first 2 days, I was like, yeah, no, let me just delete my account, because the way people just spoke to me and the way they approached me, I was just like, oh yeah, no, I'm not for this kind of energy. It's just giving.
And yet,
desperate.
It's still one of the most popular in the world.
Well, because instead of finding a prostitute online, on the street, you can just find somebody online that's just willing to hit it and quit it. You know what I mean? Or
that's also saying that most of us are looking for that. It's the most popular. Tinder is literally one of the most popular apps in the world. So are we saying that
It's probably
The
because of
majority
their
of us are
marketing.
looking for prostitutes. I don't think
No,
so.
I'm not saying that we're looking for prostitutes, but if you're looking to have sex with somebody, it's more you have more success on there to do that. You know what I mean? Instead of leaving the comfort of your home.
So maybe that now highlights what our dating culture
Right.
is actually looking for.
Right.
Even on the dating apps.
Sure. Yeah, and that has to do with the interfacing. I believe it's so picture oriented. There's
yeah.
not really much Q&As to really get to know somebody. It's literally you just posting photos and people swiping right or left on
Right.
what you posted. We have Bumble coming in at number 4. It's liked for women's first approach, but some users report dissatisfaction with limited matches after some time.
Let me tell you why I like Bumble. But I don't know if you've ever seen Bumble. Well, Bumble has like a friend app, like within the app.
Some of them
There's like
have
a
those
friend
now.
section, right? Where you could just connect with friends and make friends. And they have one for networking as well.
Oh, that's
on
fun.
Bumble.
Yeah.
Which is pretty, I think, pretty new.
So, fun fact, I actually did a campaign with Bumble, and for 5 seconds, you may catch me on YouTube telling you to join Bumble.
Nice.
And what they were doing for this campaign was targeting college students to make it a safer place to meet people in your campus or whatever. And I think that was really smart, and giving it, you can't protect certain age groups from social media.
Sure.
But you can make it as safe as possible.
Yeah. And I think Bumble does that.
And Bumble really execute that. So that's where I give them the kudos. Again, to me, it's still the same layout a little bit as Tinder. You know what I mean? But I think they've improved so much and actually have opened different, like you said, like different ways to connect. If you want to just be friends, if you want to network or things like that. So I think that's really great marketing. Now coming in at second best so Bumble was coming in at third best app to have for online dating, and coming in second is Hinge. Now, I actually started Hinge. I actually started when
You started it?
Of course. I'm a genius. No, I actually, when I decided to kind of try online dating, I went to Hinge and I started my own profile there. That was the first app that actually it wasn't, I lied. It was Tinder. And then I went and did research on what was the best to get to know someone on a serious level. And that's when I went to Hinge. And Hinge, I was on there for a little while. Very interesting characters on the app. And then later did I find out that, I just saw this person on Tinder. You know what I mean? So certain people, going back to how many people
average, right?
Yeah,
3
the
to 4?
average 3 to 4 apps.
Wow.
So yeah, Hinge is highly rated for its focus on serious relationships and meaningful conversations. So if any of you out there have any successful online dating experiences and or matching, please comment below. I would love to maybe get your interview, your perspective on it. And if you ever had a bad online dating experience, also comment below so we can share that on our next episode. Going at number 1 best app to meet someone and have successful rating is, drumroll, what do you think? What do you think it is?
Oh man, I'm so bad. I'm gonna be honest. The only dating app I've ever been on is POF and then Facebook dating.
It's okay, me too. But it is eHarmony. eHarmony is one of the highest rating apps for long-term relationships. Praised for its matching system and relationship success rate.
You know what didn't come to mind is Match.com.
Right. Match.com did not make the top 5
That's wild.
apps. It's so weird.
Because Match.com is the oldest. I don't know if you knew that, but it's the oldest.
It is. It is, and actually one of the first to open the window for everyone. I believe it was made in 1993. I was only 1 year old by then.
Nice.
But I find that interesting. You know what I mean? I think these apps kind of may fluctuate based on the society, the day and age, and what age groups are in there. And these apps actually target specific age range, which I think is very interesting. And I think that's where you see the demographic or you see the type of people that are actually rating these success stories or not.
I also think a lot of it is on the marketing of these apps, right?
For sure.
It's like this is how they're becoming the most popular because they're getting the most people in.
Yeah. So really quick, I just want to talk about the top 3 apps for hookups, which, as we already kind of went through.
Tinder.
Beep, 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 beep.
See, I would've gotten that one. I would've gotten
right. At number 1,
Okay.
Then we have Grindr, which is based more around
Yeah.
the LGBT community, and then we have Feed. It's
Field.
Feel with a D at the end. So Feed being the newest, I believe they had a little bit of issue with their original name, so they had a rebrand in 2016. So they're still pretty new. You know
Okay.
what I mean? I haven't seen their marketing.
Got
so
it.
that means I haven't
not really
seen
out
it
there
at
like
all.
that. Okay.
Right. I think a couple of other hookup apps are like Badoo, right? Chispa, that's more towards the Latin community. And then we have BLK, which is Black, more for the African American community.
But we're saying these are hookup apps?
Yes,
Or we're saying
yes.
these are dating apps?
Well, they're still dating apps,
Right.
but they're
so
rated.
technically, yeah, I got you.
They're dated. I mean, they're rated as the ones for specifically
For most
hooking
hooking
up.
up.
Yeah, but that was top 3 for hookup. Let's talk about the top 3 apps for serious relationships. Coming in at number 1, of course, is eHarmony. Then we have Hinge, and coming in at number 3 is the one you mentioned, Match.com.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
There you go.
and I think the reason why it's not considered on the top 5 is because it's a website more than a app, and they started as a website. You know, now they're probably
That makes sense.
carried over to an app. Yeah.
And they're really forward thinking on relationships.
This episode is sponsored by Too Many Christmases, which is now streaming on BET Plus. It is a fun, comedic holiday family movie, and I had the honor of interviewing the cast members of this movie this past Friday on IG Live. If you would like to see that recap, refer back to our IG as Singles Intervention. Double the family, double the Christmas drama. Without further ado, here is the full trailer, Too Many Christmases.
This is gonna be the first Christmas my wife's coming over, spending with the family.
Bring on the holiday! I have plans! Christmas plans have changed and they're back on at my mom's place.
You know, that's not gonna work out. You know Christmas is my mom's favorite holiday, and it's my dad's birthday. We've already committed to them.
Is there a way to make everybody happy?
Yeah, be in 2 places at the same time.
Yes! 1 day, 2 Christmases. That's perfect. My family lives 15 minutes from your parents' house, so we can get there easily back and forth. Teamwork
Makes the scheme
work.
Why y'all eating so damn fast?
What's going on with you and Jerome?
Okay, weird energy here.
It is time to go around the room, and let's all say what we're thankful for.
Everybody close your eyes.
There we go.
So Jay Shetty wrote a book recently on the 8 aspects of love or 8 rules of engagement, something like that. That was really about connections. And now Jay Shetty is working with Match.com to help the algorithm in finding matches.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way to go, you know?
Yeah, if you want something serious, right?
Yeah.
So I got a question.
Okay.
What app have you used that you felt was the most successful?
Well, I'm actually only on one app,
Okay.
and I feel that it's because I've had the most success in it, which is Facebook dating. And a lot of people don't know about it. And for me, here's my theory.
Does that like age us a little bit because we got Facebook dating? Like, who uses Facebook anymore, right?
I'm sorry, whether it ages us or not. I'm in my 30s, so I'm looking for maturity. So if you don't
Gotcha.
know about it, then you're too young for me.
No, but Facebook dating, I think is pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah,
I like Facebook dating.
for me, I've gone on let me not say I've gone on a lot of dates through Facebook dating, but I've had a lot of great conversations and actually met some genuine people from there. And here's why. Because it eliminates the fake profiling. You know what I mean? Like, you can get catfished on all these things. You can probably get catfished on Facebook
Yeah,
too.
I'm sure you can still get catfish.
Yeah, because you can use your younger photos,
Right.
but I mean,
Or you could create a fake account. Like anybody could create an
yes
account.
and no, because they make you verify so much.
Oh, okay.
So there's like a vetting process that they do. And for me, I like that they even share who you're mutually friends with. So for me, I love that because if you're, like I said in episode 1, last episode, if you're following, slutty Sarah, I'm kind of, getting the feel of, the environment you're around. But if, you follow precious Patricia, maybe you're godly, maybe you're spiritual or whatever.
Yeah, but how many of your Facebook friends do you actually know? Right? I have a bunch of Facebook friends that I probably don't even know, to be honest.
That's true, but guess what? If I want to vet this person furthermore, I can hit up that person like, hey, I see that we mutually follow someone and just want to know a little about them because I don't want to get catfished. You know what I mean?
Okay.
At least I had that option, whether I used it or not, which I don't. But I had that to feel more secure as to giving this person a little bit of my time or information. Does that make sense?
Got it.
Where for Hinge or all these other things, it's like, needle in a haystack. Just take your pick or just go for it.
It's whatever comes by. Right?
Yeah.
Well, how do you think Facebook dating is different though?
Well, because you get to answer certain prompts. There's already a couple of questions that they ask you. So like
you look at that?
religion,
nice.
height, location, where you were born, where you went to school. Like, it just gives me a little insight of this person because let's say I don't know how to talk or start a conversation. I'm like, hey, I saw that you're Hispanic. What is your nationality? You know what I mean? I can start that way, where I can pick and choose what I want to focus on in starting this. And don't get me wrong, Hinge and all these other things have that basis too. But what I like for me personally and I look for is if they have kids or if they don't. And if they're a smoker or not a smoker or a drinker. Like I think those little things kind of help me. And it also matches you with your hobbies, which is really interesting.
I like the fact that you can add a song. Because then it's like,
oh
wow, I love that song.
Yeah.
I feel music says a lot about you.
Yeah.
What do you look at? How much do you look into that profile, right? Do you really look into it?
I analyze it. If you have less than 3 photos, it's a swipe left for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or 3 things, right? Like you don't even have to answer most of those questions.
Yeah.
So people sometimes just don't answer them. They may have a couple of photos, but they're not really answering questions.
Right. So again, that also it just shows your how interested you are in actually getting success. So that's what I look into. So I want to deep dive a little bit more into the talking stage through these apps, right? And when is it okay to ask for a date or accept a date, right? I feel for me, what happens in these apps is very, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? That's how casual it starts. And then you have a couple of banter back and forth, and then it's like, hey, well, I really don't use this app. What's your IG? And as soon as you make that transition, there's no more conversation. For me and for other people that I've asked, has that ever happened to you?
I think that I almost appreciate the transition because I purposely don't go on certain apps for a while. So I'll get on Facebook dating maybe once a week, but on my Instagram, I'm on all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So if I have somebody's Instagram, I think it's a lot better for me, right? Because even in Facebook dating, I'll start a conversation with somebody, and they'll continue it, but then sometimes I won't be able to reach back out to them for a couple of days, and then that kind of feels some type of way to them.
Yeah. That doesn't bother me because there's no establishment thus that far. So for me, I've had those, and then I've had people that are on it, and then they go ghost and then they come back. So I don't create a pattern just yet until we go on our first date. And I think that can be taken into consideration. Don't judge a person on how quick they respond or not. It's more about when they respond, are they still engaged in the conversation?
Yeah.
Right? Because I personally don't have my notifications on for Facebook dating because I'm not actively looking. It's just there per se. But it bothers me when we go to another app to have the conversation or to continue or whatever, because now I feel like my profile intimidates people. And that was actually feedback given to me from someone I had asked, right? It was so funny. A couple of matches ago, I matched with somebody who had the exact same birthday as me.
Wow.
And I was like, what are the odds? And it's a great guy, great catch or whatever, but for me, that was a write-off because, I already shared my birthday with 10 people I personally know. And my mom decided to marry somebody with the same birthday as me. So now you know what I mean? I no longer feel special. So for me to date someone with my exact birthday, crazy.
Do you put your modeling pictures up?
I don't necessarily in my profile. I'm very strategic on what I put. I do more lifestyle because I don't want people to be like, oh, she's a model. Oh, great. This, that pedestal is so high, or it, for certain people, or
Yeah.
like, oh, she's a model. Oh, she's whatever stigma they have on a model would automatically kick in if they saw that.
Yeah.
So once I feel like they go to IG and they see all the stuff that I do, it's like, oh wow, this person's popular, and it's not really supposed to be taken that way.
I also like that they don't share your last name. So like they
yes.
can't Google you either.
Right.
Right. I mean, I guess they can, but you're not gonna really find somebody by their first name.
Right. Yeah, and what's funny is what actually happened to me a couple of times, maybe like 2 or 3 times, is that people that I've actually swiped left on or just didn't respond have seen me in person.
Wow.
And was like, hey, how are you? Da-da-da. And I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they look familiar, but I used to work at a restaurant, so maybe I saw them there. It's like, hey, so you didn't swipe right on me. What happened with that?
Whoa,
And
they've
it's
actually
so-
approached you on
yes.
that? That's wild.
And it's so awkward.
Fellas, please don't do that.
It's so awkward.
If they didn't swipe on you, let it be, man. Let it be.
But here's a conversation that we can always get into later on and get deeper in on other episodes, is the rejection of not being accepted on a dating app. Does that even occur? Or is that okay? You know what I mean? Does that affect our self-esteem if we swipe right on somebody and they don't reciprocate that? You know what I mean? Is that more accepted in this day and age? Does that make someone more insecure
Yeah.
when that occurs? You know what I mean? Because there's so many factors as to why somebody would swipe left. For me, it's like if your photos are blurry, if I see your mirrors dirty, like that's just me aesthetically. Like it makes me feel like, okay, cool, you don't pay attention to details. And you're willing to just post anything. Or if you're doing this, or you're doing this,
Right.
or you're doing this, or you're doing like all those things just don't
Absolutely.
attract me personally, and that can be saved for a time and place for another app. But if I'm looking for something serious, I'm not. Don't
Yeah.
care if you have your shirt off.
At the same time, have you ever had a situation where you've swiped on somebody, all of a sudden it's come back a match, and you've been like, oh, I didn't even realize I swiped on that
Oh my
person?
God, all the time.
Right?
Because
So-
it's taken so long for them to accept it. So I'm
Right.
like, oh wait, I'm not attracted to you anymore.
So
Delete.
I think, damn,
Kidding.
I didn't know it happened like that. But you know what? I think when you increase the options, that's what happens sometimes.
What do you mean?
I think sometimes when we get so stuck in that swiping culture,
Yeah.
you start seeing, oh no, she looks good. Oh, but she looks better. Oh, but she looks even better. It's like, oh, okay, now. So that's why I think the rejection phase of that is a little tricky, because you're getting, I guess if you're not getting any matches, then maybe you could feel a little rejected.
Yeah.
Right?
But I think, but I just want people to take into consideration, right, is that don't think it's because they don't like you.
Right.
It's what you're putting out there
Yeah.
that reflects you.
It's like a resume.
Right. You know what I mean? It's a profile. So
Yeah.
if you're looking for something serious and to have an actual success rate, you should take your profile serious
Yeah.
and give only the information you want to share with people. It doesn't have to be everything, but what the basics, right? Like if you're doing it, again, this is why I say treat the dating part and online dating as an interview, literally. Because people are going to vet you. People are going to want to see what you are without being judged, right? Who is that person? Who are you when no one's around, right? And that's what your profile should resemble, and to an extent, you know what I mean? Like if you walk around naked, don't post nothing naked, but you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, but to the extent of like, do you read books? Like if your friends weren't around, which is, I feel like friends have a big part in how we see ourselves, right? Or how we accept ourselves. So if they're not around, I feel like, who's that person?
Right. And at the same time, I think dating apps, dating profiles, they're only going to show you but so much.
Sure.
Right? Like that's the beginning
Of anything.
of anything. I think that's why, to be honest, for me, I've done Facebook dating, but I've actually done it more to meet clients as a relationship coach than to actually meet partners. I feel like when you have a strong social scene, you meet so many people in general.
Yeah.
Somebody like you that meets so many people, doesn't it get overwhelming to now do so as well in Facebook dating?
It is, and I had to learn as any other, person that, I mean, I'm not a celebrity, but I think of the celebrity mindset as well, right? You're in all these different cities, you're in all these different towns, or if you're an actor, you're in all these different screenings, you're in all these different premieres, and you meet the camera person down to the assistant, down to the driver, down to, you meet all these people, so it's overwhelming of information. And then imagine if you want to start a romantic relationship, then that's another folder. I think of things as folders. So that's another folder for you to open to then dump all this data in. It is a lot for this society and I think that also reflects on the status on marriages nowadays, right? Because back in the day, you didn't see your partner as frequent or many people as frequent as you do on a daily basis. There wasn't much opportunity for you to connect with a lot of other people. So when all those things are being played into factor, and then now you have this digital screen to help you access more people and more information, subconsciously we're overwhelmed. And if you're not drained by the end of the day of just your interactions in person, I'm sure you'll be drained from whatever you consume on your phone. It's a lot to unfold, and I do believe that online dating has change the way we connect with people. I feel like there's a good and bad with social media and online dating platforms. The good is because you are a busy person, you don't have time to meet people, you can meet them digitally. And then the bad is that, it comes with a lot of more insecurities.
Yeah.
And what else?
I said the bad thing is that you're meeting them digitally.
Right.
It's like you're not actually experiencing that person.
Or that chemistry that you guys can have in person.
Right. Because they could say whatever they want to say on the profile, you know, and I think it's so overwhelming, especially for females.
Yeah.
Because you're getting these guys who may not actually go to talk to you when they meet you in person.
No.
But they'll have
Social media
spirit
courage.
fingers, when they're actually reaching out to you on a dating app. Like, that's just so overwhelming.
I want to share, and I do it on my close friends on IG because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings, but I love sharing on Facebook dating. People could leave comments, right, for you to see in order to match with them. And they're just so clever that sometimes I just swipe right to tell them, yo, I'm not really interested, but what you said was fire. I'm going to use that or something.
You get the most souped up. They get all excited when they see match with Juju, and they're like, yes, I matched. And they see a message that says, hey, I like your
I
quote.
don't really say that, but I've done maybe in my past. But I think it's funny what people would say because they think you're not paying attention. And it just be clever. It just be clever stuff. You know what I mean? Like, hey, did it hurt when you fell out of heaven? Like,
Absolutely.
All right, that was clever. I've heard that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's that pickup culture. That this is why I'm not the biggest fan of dating apps, but I think used in the right space, it makes sense. Yeah. Used by certain people, it makes sense, right? Yeah. Like if you are a lawyer, or in my example, right, I'm a licensed therapist. I don't really get to meet a lot of people in my career. The reason I meet a lot of people is because of my social life. Yeah. But if I was just in my career, it'd be really hard for me to meet people. Yeah. Because, I'm only seeing people I'm working with and colleagues. Yeah. It gets very awkward in that space. Yeah. I'm sure maybe for you as well, right? Because you're always meeting people that are in the entertainment industry.
See, but I don't mind dating. What I've learned is that I don't mind dating in my entertainment community field because they can understand the basics. Yeah. I've dated outside and the insecurities was just, off the wall of me having to explain, which I didn't mind, but then it was like, to them, it still didn't make sense why I was on the phone with the producer at like 10 o'clock at night. Well, when our shoot is at 6 in the morning, how does that not make sense to you? Like we're going over the day before, so certain things like that to the common foe wouldn't get, and that's cool. But I guess I would have to meet that again. I don't prefer one over the other, but if I do, it would just have to be that person that's a little bit more healthy and more secure in who they are if they're outside of my field.
What I also think is the problem sometimes with dating apps is the overwhelming option. Yes. I think that, and I'm not just saying I think, actually, this is truth. It's statistical truth, research truth. The more options you have, harder it is for you to make a choice. Yeah. Right? So the fact that we have social media, the fact that we have dating apps. It gives us so many options. You see so many people there. And it's harder for you to make a choice, right?
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, you'll be a woman like yourself and you'll have 30 matches, right? Because you're swiping, let's say for a month or so, whatever. You'll have 30 matches there. How do you even pick?
Yeah.
Right? How do you decide? Now it becomes very overwhelming. Now it's like what you said before of, oh, I don't, today I'm not really that attracted to you. But maybe it's because you've seen so much of others.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
hard to, now I'm having a conversation with each person.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah.
Especially for females, I feel like it could be a lot more overwhelming.
And for me, I don't mind it because when one isn't present, I can go on to the next conversation. But I also don't like that energy neither.
Yeah.
I don't
think
like
it
talking
keeps
to
us
multiple
single
people.
though.
Yeah.
I think it keeps us single.
Yeah.
Like the fact that we keep swiping keeps us single.
What I struggle with, and most of my girlfriends that are on these online dating apps and having these conversations with multiple people, whatever, is when are they going to ask us on an actual date? Like, when does one feel ready? I know you're going to cover that in Coach's Corner, but for me, I feel like people will vet me and ask me certain questions, but they may get turned off by something and I don't know what that is because then the conversation starts to lag. And then once we make that transition to another app, it's like now we have overflow of data and now we either feel insecure or that we feel overwhelmed or whatever it is, and then we never really push for that date. And then I get men that even say, hey, yeah, when a woman kind of asks or insists for a date, I feel like it's pushy. So
Yeah.
there's always that, like, I feel like there's always gonna be that if it ain't flowing, it ain't going. You know what I mean?
Right. But I think it also goes back into that option part, right? Just as women have constant options, men in these apps, I mean, we're
Yeah.
swiping for hours sometimes, right? Or for days or for weeks. Now, think about you as a woman with 30 guys, 30 matches. Think about us as men with 30 matches. That's also very important to keep in mind that these men that are looking at you are also looking at 25 or 30 other matches.
Yeah.
So we can't date everyone at the same
Yeah.
time, right? So we might not even
That's
get to
true.
you, right? And this is my problem with dating apps, I feel, because
Yeah.
again, it raises the options so much that when you do find out one guy, let's say, it almost attaches you to that person, and then you get very disappointed when that person's not writing back.
Yeah.
And then that person is maybe attached to a different person, right? And that's why they're not writing back.
Yeah.
It's so difficult in the dating app scene. I think it needs to be used specifically, and that's something that I talk about in the corner.
Well, that's it for this segment. Next coming up is the Coach's Corner with Jeff, that he kind of touches a little bit more in depth about what we just spoke about. So stay tuned. See you when we come back.
Let's do it. Wow, what an episode about online dating. Hot topic for good reason. Welcome to the Coach's Corner. I'm your relationship coach, Jeff. Let's go over a really important fact. Most people are not actually meeting through a dating app. Okay? So let's take that pressure off first and foremost. Most couples, statistically, are meeting through friends. But you know what the second highest space of meeting new people is? Dating apps. Over 70% of people that have gone into dating apps have said that they have been able to match with the right person. See, most matches are also happening between 40 to 55 years old. Why aren't the younger people finding matches through dating apps? Because many times we're using dating apps as a way to just meet somebody new and keep swiping. We're in this swiping culture. We don't put as much emphasis to what is actually on that profile. There's a ton of dating apps, some of which we spoke about today. But none of these apps are gonna work for you if you don't use them correctly. If we're just swiping through attractive photos, what are you gonna get out of that? Pay attention to the type of pictures that they post. Pay attention to the pictures that you post. What does it show? Do you like the picture? Do you like what it shows in the background? Does it show who you are? Be intentional with your dating profile. Men are always sexualizing, okay? It is our nature through attraction to sexualize. So if we find you attractive, yeah, there's gonna be some sexualization that happens there. That doesn't mean that because that's how we may be looking at you, that is all you need to be to us, because it's not. Yeah, a lot of dating apps are spaces of random hookups and sex, but it doesn't need to be. If that's what you're looking for, then that's what you're gonna find. And that's in any type of dating. But in dating apps specifically, let your profile shine to what your actual intention is. You're not trying to understand every aspect of that individual through their dating profile. It's not gonna happen, okay? The dating profile is the first. That's why I love the kind of apps that allow you to match with the same person that match with you. I like that, because then that means that you showed interest and they showed interest, and that happens before the conversation takes place. Now, how long do you wait when you're having a conversation on a dating app to actually go out on a date? Well, think about this as actual interaction, because while we live in an AI world, a dating app is only but a catalyst to you being able to meet a person. The moment you finally are ready to give out your number, the moment you are ready to go on a date, should be the space when you feel comfortable, when there is a fluid conversation that happens. See, sometimes we want to rush into it. Hey, here's my number. Let's just go through a text message, or let's get a phone call going right away. Don't feel pressured. Don't feel rushed. Just because you feel like this person is the right person for you, or you're really attracted to that person, you don't know the background of that individual. So don't feel rushed, because you're gonna be sorely disappointed. Take your time. Start having a little bit of conversation for a couple of days, and then share your number, and then start having conversation that way. Call each other, FaceTime one another, okay? Really try to understand each other, and then go on a date. Don't forget what we spoke about before. Get to know if they like coffee or not. It's important. Date intentionally, date with patience, date with care, but keep on dating.
Don't forget to tune in to the next episode. We will be going over love languages. I'm excited.
That's another really good one.
I'm so excited.
Great.
It's a really great topic, and I feel like this day and age has kind of brought it to life, that where like my parents don't even know what their love language is.
Yeah, absolutely.
So stay tuned. Continue to follow us. If you like what you're seeing, please comment below, subscribe, and like, so that we can make this experience better for you. Until next week.
See you next time.
Juju here. Looking for our previous episode? Click here on the left. If you're looking for any of our videos on our channel, click here on the right. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment below.